Elevator Action, the ups and downs of the spy game. And welcome to NEStalgia, a chronological exploration of every NES game released in North America. I'm Mike.
I'm Sean.
And I'm Joe.
No surprises there, guys. You all said your names correctly, and it's time to play some... let me ask you real fast, Sean. You a guy who enjoys riding the elevators?
I wear an elevator sometimes.
Okay, I don't know what that means. I'm kind of concerned. Joe, you like elevators?
I love elevators.
Do I have
love
a
that
game for
elevator
you?
action.
Ooh, you know the game. It is Elevator Action, as we alluded to just moments ago. This is another Taito game. No surprises there. They love to make arcade games that don't translate that well to console experiences. And it's Micronix again. Micronix is doing it. Taito's doing it. And so the arcade game came out in 1983, and now it's on the NES in 1987. And boy, does it show.
Yeah.
And I just mean, so I don't want to, we should talk about the plot and the objective before we go any further. But what I mean is just like, this game looks Atari 2600 level graphics, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, I can't think of many games that look as archaic as this one.
Popeye was the last one for me.
Yes, that's what I have in my head.
I almost think Popeye looked better than this.
Well, that's, I guess, yeah, but remember Popeye's boat? And then you see the boat in the arcade, and you're like, wow, that's a boat.
Right.
I was playing on a bunch of zigzags, you know? That's how I feel with
That's
Elevator
right.
Action, only the Elevator Action arcade game also looked pretty similar to that.
Yeah.
So here we go with the plot for Elevator Action, because I know everybody was looking for that deep lore. The player assumes the role of Agent 17, codename Otto. Now, I gotta stop right there. I have to stop one sentence in. Isn't it usually the other way around?
I was gonna say.
Aren't you like Otto,
No, you
codename
are-
Agent 17?
This is like a Hitman situation where you are the barcode, but you take on a name.
Oh, okay. I like
Interesting.
that. I didn't know that was Hitman's thing, actually.
Well, I don't actually know either, but
Okay.
I think it is Agent 17 in Hitman.
Oh, I thought it... Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is this a prequel?
Is this a prequel?
That
to
is
Hit-
so
Oh,
strange.
This-
Anyway,
everything's a prequel.
everything.
For us.
No matter how... And who knows, maybe Agent 17, right? This Otto codename guy from Elevator Action, maybe it's like his descendant is Hitman.
That could be.
Still makes it a prequel.
Right. No, I meant like...
It could be just. It could
I meant
just be
in a
young
reference to the Athena
17.
episode last week,
Oh,
Sean.
yeah,
In
exactly.
the Athena episode last week, we found out that Athena Asamiya is Athena's... Wow, how many times have I said that? People are pissed off at me.
2 weeks.
Okay. Anyway, Agent 17, codename Otto. He's a secret agent for an unspecified organization
In
or
your
government.
country.
Like it doesn't specify.
It doesn't even know.
Organization or government who must collect all the documents and reach the basement using the elevator and stairs. So then, if we're going to get into the gameplay, the player assumes the role of a spy infiltrating a 30-story building filled with elevators. The player is pursued by enemy agents who appear from behind closed doors. Your mission? Collect documents and get down to the basement.
Where there is a car.
Yeah, where the plot and the
basement.
gameplay come together.
I think
so
there's something to be
seamlessly.
said. Yeah, there's something to be said. Like, if you can have both be the same thing.
Yeah, it was pretty much the same paragraph.
It's kind of beautiful.
So what do we think about the gameplay?
I mean, I was surprised that there was so much shooting guns in this game for an NES game. I feel like they steered clear of that.
Shooting the guns. Sorry,
We've had some
unfortunately-
very violent games so far.
Yeah,
I don't know
I
what-
guess that's true, but like we had like Commando and stuff. We had, but like
You remember the
this
games where
looks
you
more
took
like,
an actual gun and shot people in the face, Joe?
what?
Yeah, the Zapper games.
Oh,
you hold an
that
actual
wasn't people.
gun
Oh,
and
yeah, okay. I'm
shoot
thinking of Duck Hunt.
Hogan's Alley and stuff like that. Oh yeah, ducks aren't people.
Well, that's true. But fair, there have been other gun
anti-duck.
games, but for some reason this one just feels more like maybe it's just like the bullets and like you're just killing people.
The
that are
severity
just like
of it.
in an
All right,
office
so,
building.
all right,
It just,
for some reason,
stood out.
Joe is very offended by the violence in this game. I don't know why.
I'm not offended.
I know.
No, I just meant that I'm surprised that they I feel like people were a lot more
they have
sensitive to that
bullets.
back.
But I think a good way to work around that is that I would have really enjoyed if this was a Zapper game, actually. Imagine if Agent 17
tried
acts
this
on
already.
his own, right? Agent 17 kind of like does his thing, walking around, trying to get to the bottom without avoiding contact, and then you are like the marksman across the other building, shooting with the Zapper all of the different targets that show up trying to kill him as he completes the mission.
Oh wait, no, this has to be a multiplayer game then. It can only be played co-op.
No, I am saying that Agent 17 maybe is controlled by Rob. He's moving around little gyro discs that that move like, okay, Otto will now walk to the left.
And all those weeks ago, we were talking about how they could not think of another Rob game, but we already made it for them.
Not only did I make a Rob game, I made a game where the Rob and the Zapper come together. Okay? Since we're talking about gameplay, I am very impressed that you're able to control the elevators in this game.
For
Joe,
some
were you
reason,
impressed?
good. I suppose. I mean, I think at first it takes a second for you to realize that you're control, because the elevators will move if you don't move.
That's
them.
what it was. I thought
Yeah.
the elevators, because they move on their own, I thought that I was just like at their mercy, and then I was like, oh, I got to duck, and instead of ducking, I went down a floor,
Yeah.
and I was like, huh, I'm God.
It was a neat experience, but yeah, I mean, just this, you must have a very low bar for excitement if, I was very surprised that we could control the elevators.
I just didn't know what was possible in this game. And if you thought I was surprised when I found out you can control the elevators, wait until I found out you can shoot the lights out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was I found that out at the very end of my time playing, and I was like, what? I could have done this the whole time? It seemed to maybe get you more points, but didn't really do much else.
I don't think they react as quickly to you if you have the lights out.
And you definitely get more points. I think it's worth 500 points instead of 100.
But you shoot any light in the building, and all lights in the building go out, like the way lights work.
Yeah, exactly. You've broken the circuit.
Everybody just has
It's all
that
in
one
parallel,
master
not
light
parallel.
switch in their living room that turns off and on all the lights in the house.
Is this the first stealth game?
Huh.
Would you say stealth, though?
I mean,
You're right out in the open.
I mean, I was going to say, is Super Mario Brothers a stealth game if I, don't attack anybody and I just jump around everything?
well, I think that one of the biggest parts of stealth games is shooting out lights. So
Yes, that's true.
I'd say
That was a big component of Splinter Cell.
it checks that box, and you're also a spy, but that's one of those additional boxes. Those are bonus boxes.
Bonus boxes.
And
How's this on the spy scale right now? Is it halfway to being a spy game?
I meant stealth game.
Okay,
It's
so-
definitely a spy game because they'd say it is.
Yes.
But I don't know. I think this is at least a proto stealth game.
Here's the weird thing, okay? If this is a spy game and it's 1983,
Stealth.
we are what?
Stealth or spy game?
Yeah, stealth game even.
Okay.
Stealth or spy game, and it's 1983. We are in peak James Bond mode right now, where Bond mania is high. Roger Moore is Bond. This is all-time cheesiness levels. Things are getting really good, and then you get a game that's oh yeah, what's the most spy thing you can do? Ride up and down the elevators and steal documents. It's where is the remote control car that I'm going to use to knock people down off their feet? And where's my explosive gel that I put on the door and then blow it up when they walk by? That's what I'm looking for in my spy game.
I
More
like
gadgets.
to imagine. Yeah, gadgets. I mean, I do think I sound silly just now talking about the first stealth game.
No, I actually enjoy it.
Now I also have this image of in my head of the pitch meeting, and it's similar to how James Cameron pitched Aliens, where he just wrote aliens, and then made the S a dollar sign on a whiteboard, and so I like to think that they wrote elevators or elevator on a whiteboard, and then they just took off a sheet and it said action after it. Just why were they thinking elevator? Why is that the core gameplay loop? Is
I mean, the only thing I mean, it doesn't answer that question at all. But the only thing I can think of is that a lot of arcade games, there's Burger Time, and there's all these things that I'm just well,
Which is
why
also
this a
Taito
game?
made.
Is it?
Yeah, Taito
Look at
did
that.
Burger Time. They were just picking up on all the big trends of the 80s, like elevators.
and fast food.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, though, we're kind of joking, but, the 80s would see like a lot of high-rise construction buildings in big
So
cities.
this is actually a comment on the socioeconomic status of New York City in the 80s. I don't know.
Absolutely. That's what I got from it. All right, so inputs. Are they responsive?
Enough.
I think enough.
I think what you need. I mean, your shooting's quick enough.
Shooting is
and
quick
that's
enough,
really,
and I
the
like that
biggest
because
thing.
it is you versus the other guy's bullet. So you want to
Yeah.
be fast, and I even like when I see the door open, I'll shoot early just to anticipate how
Yeah.
long it's going to take to
Right.
travel over to them.
But the bullets are a little faster than some of the other games. I always go back to Commando.
Commandos.
Yeah, the bullet was so slow that
Those
you
weren't
could.
really bullets. Those were like blue bubbles.
Right, but these were like small, and they were like fast enough that you couldn't. It was harder.
Oh,
to
you had to
dodge.
react.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I think most of my deaths were met by just not seeing a guy at the right time and then him shooting, and then I'm trying to either duck or something, and I wind up getting hit by his bullet.
Yeah.
You can die also by making direct contact with people, which is weird.
Well, they grab you.
Yeah, but why can't I grab them? Remember, this is an argument I'll always have with these games.
I think that while the controls themselves are fine, they're perfectly passable. I do think that the ways that you do interact with the environment can get a little fickle. Like you have to stand in basically within 2 pixels of this white dot that in order to open one of the red doors.
And that's the same
Yeah.
for the stairs, too.
Yeah.
It's just weird. And also, why am I taking the stairs in a game about elevators?
Because that floor doesn't have stairs, Mike.
And
It's
there's
an
not even-
escalator. It's an escalator.
It's an escalator?
Yeah, they are not. It's a completely mechanized moving system.
I like that. The building itself is moving.
Well, technically,
Confirmed.
Yeah.
Yes, confirmed. Okay,
through
great.
space.
Is there enough happening in this game, though?
No.
It needs something else. It needs another. It needs another little piece.
Right, because
Yeah.
this is a game in 1987 that is living and dying by the high score mechanism.
Yeah.
The whole thing is how high can you score? And it's that's not the experience I want to bring home
Right.
into my
Yeah, I
living
think
room.
this would be okay in an arcade experience. You're just competing against whoever else
Right,
trying to beat the
that
score. Fine.
local leaderboard
Yeah.
at your bar.
Right.
You know, you're just
Or Chuck
I'm
E.
going to be
Cheese.
at the top. Yeah, or Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah, it depends on where you are. And then just another question here. Is it weird that this simple game is being released on the NES now, 1987? Would we have accepted it more in 1985? If this was a launch game, would we have been kinder to it?
Oh,
You
very
mean
much
us
so.
as in
Or
the
attuned to
three of
it?
us?
Yes, the three of us.
I think I would have because
Yeah.
I wasn't quite aware of what else I was getting into.
Right. And here it's I've seen enough good games now. I don't
Yeah.
want to see nothing like elevator action.
I don't want to be too hard on it though, because I think at least it's something different. I mean, I know it's a remake. It's just a port, but it's not just a move to the right and hit stuff, or move to the right and shoot stuff, or move to the right and jump on stuff. It's got some interesting maneuvers. It's not enough of the new stuff.
Right.
But it is unique.
It is unique.
Well, guys, I have bad news. Elevator action seems to have a fan base. Seems to be pretty popular. Was popular back in the day. Kind of revered as a good game back in the day.
I don't think it's a terrible
I don't
game.
think that's bad news.
I think that's bad news for me because I really don't like this game. But, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about all of the sequels and spin-offs that came out of Elevator Action. Like Elevator Action Returns, or just Elevator Action 2 in North America, 2 being Roman numerals. That was released in 1994. Okay?
Wow.
Yeah, that took a while to get out. Then Elevator Action EX, which is an updated version of the game released for the Game Boy Color in 2000. Then Elevator Action Old and New. It's a further update for the Game Boy Advance in 2002. And revealed at AOU 2009, Elevator Action Death Parade is a light gun shooter that uses elevator doors when changing scenarios.
That's the only way that it gets to the elevator. That's how it cuts.
That's how it cuts, yes. And then a later remake of the game by Square Enix. What? Titled Elevator Action Deluxe was released on the PlayStation Network on August 31st, 2011. The game contains single-player and multiplayer modes, as well as the original arcade game.
Is it a massively multiplayer online
No,
game?
it's not an MMO. I'm sure eventually they will do elevator action, A Realm Reborn.
But is the new version
not even a
in
laugh.
There are people laughing on the other
Which
side.
new version?
Is the new version in that 2011 version, like not the original arcade version that they included? Is the new version just like an updated looking version of the original?
Well,
or is
yeah,
it, like,
but with
play
some new,
different?
new mechanics. But no. The idea is still the same.
Gotcha.
You know, you're riding elevators. You're Agent 17. You know, which is weird because Square Enix made it, and Square Enix, for the most part, was responsible for Hitman
That's right.
back then.
I think they still are.
Yeah.
aren't they?
No, I think didn't they hand off that license?
I don't.
Pretty sure whoever's making those games now also owns the rights for
Well,
that game.
it's still
too.
being published by Square, right?
No, see, I just don't know with season 2. I know that like after season 1, basically there was like this really didn't make enough money for Square Enix, so then they were like, oh, okay, we'll
take it.
we'll buy it back for.
Okay.
I think it was for a pretty small sum too, to be honest, a couple
Interesting.
million.
Well, that's going back though to not the direct sequels and remakes of this game, but I think to the
legacy,
legacy of the game.
Yep.
I want to say, and I don't want to put words in his mouth because he's active, and this is just speculation on my part. But the indie developer Tom Francis, one of my favorite indie game developers, made a game called Gunpoint, and it bears a resemblance to this game where you have to infiltrate a building. You can use elevators and stairs to navigate the floors. You have like, it's not a zip line, but you can jump between buildings, and I think that it just like has some aesthetic similarities that I think he may have a little bit of inspiration from this game.
Huh.
So check out Gunpoint. It's cheap. It's a lot of fun.
And just so I'm aware, because I mean it does sound like a little bit similar, but like in terms of the gameplay loop, how similar would you put just that one part of it with the elevators and that stuff? How similar would you put that to elevator action?
I would say that it's definitely that is not your goal, is to get down to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Like your goal changes depending on the mission in Gunpoint. But like in terms of some parts of navigation and the actual visual design of the game, I think that it shares some similarities.
Cool. I think that definitely for people who are into elevator action, that's worth checking out.
Yeah.
Just because they probably don't get many chances to do another gamplayloop like that.
Or just stealth games. Like, even though this isn't really a stealth game, but
If you're into Metal Gear, and then also just for elevator action fans out there, I just want to say that, like, you know, you probably, you know, if you like this game, you're probably upset that the three of us aren't crazy about it, but I will offer this, okay? We are NEStalgia. We have no nostalgia. And and I think that, like, in 2018, high scores are just as overrated as, like, lives. You know, like nobody wants, like, you know, like, the one-up mushroom anymore in a Mario game. It should be like, I should just have unlimited lives. Like, I don't care for that mechanic anymore. Same way I don't care about my score, you know? So when the gameplay loop of these games involves, you know, like getting your score to keep going up and up and up, it's kind of like the problem Joe had with Donkey Kong, a game that, because I grew up with, I was more fond of it. But since Joe didn't really grow up with it, he was like, well, there's really only just 4 levels, 3 in the NES version, so there's not really much there for me. And people are going to be like, oh, but you're supposed to keep doing them again and again and again, and they get harder and harder. It's like, yeah, but the loop itself isn't good enough for, like, modern players to enjoy. And I think that's the biggest problem with elevator action is, like, once you've done the 30 floors and got into the car, you might as well shut off the system after that, because it's not getting much different.
I mean, I haven't played these because I also got bored and was just sort of smitten with the idea. But like the puzzles, like the elevators do become more puzzle-like later in the game. But again, like if it didn't hold my attention for that long, I'm not gonna have too much fun with the puzzle element either.
Right.
So that's my 2 cents on it.
Any other stray thoughts?
I don't think so.
I'll give you a weird one while Joe decides if he has any. There is a great article that I'm going to link on the show notes. The show notes are always available at NEStalgiacast.com. And there's a great article on elevator design, specifically elevator design in this game, from Elevator World Incorporated. They are like a real elevator building company. You know, they build elevators, and they like are a big multinational unit. And they did an article on just the
How
enthusiasm.
the elevators work?
Yeah, how the elevators work,
In this
and
game
just a
specifically.
sign of the times of yes, elevators were a big thing, and this shows that there was a whole game around it, and they just reminisce about this game that essentially was their moment in the spotlight.
They said
In the
elevators were a
cultural
big
zeitgeist,
thing.
Really?
I'll just give you.
I mean,
a
they
little
are a big thing.
I'll give you a little sample here if the webpage is willing to load. Here we go. The phrase "golden age" evokes a variety of images. That's something right there off the bat. And then they kind of give us a little bit of history.
Webster's dictionary describes elevator as
And then they have this amazing elevator chart where they show where the elevators can be and stuff like that. And it goes, this planning, coupled with the fact that no elevators serve the 18th floor, reflects the game designer's goal to make it as difficult as possible to navigate through the building, which was, of course, the idea. I just love that this article exists, no less from Elevator World Incorporated,
have to read
whose
that.
tagline is Publisher for the International Building Transportation Industry. So that's my stray thought, a very stray
That is
thought.
very stray. You know,
Joe,
I
anything?
think that's stray enough for both of
Okay,
us.
Very good. Let's move right on into the essential games list. Okay, so you have elevator action, and then you have the ability to ride an elevator at work. Okay? I'm not going to say that I'm going to choose between the two, which one's better, right? But there's definitely a difference in the gameplay loop of each of those
All right.
to offer an experience for both. With that in mind, Sean, can you please take me through your vote for elevator action on the essential games list?
So here's the thing about riding the elevator in at your workplace. When you get off the elevator, you have to go to work. But whereas when you get off the elevator in this game, you get into a bitchin' hot rod and make off with some secret documents. So that's why it's essential. It's not essential. It's not essential. It's not a very good game. I just think it's cute. It's a cute game. That's my non-essential vote.
Joseph.
It keeps my attention for a little bit. It was fun for a few minutes. It was fun. It was interesting. But yeah, I'm not gonna try and get much further in it. You know, it's just we kind of said it all. It's repetitive and it kind of gets old.
Yeah, I'm a hard no. It's inessential. I'm sorry to the fans, but hopefully you're still my fan. That was lame. All right, that is all the time we have for this episode of NEStalgia. Sean, I heard
Yeah?
that there might be a website people can reach us at.
We took that down.
Oh,
Yeah, we didn't tell you.
yeah.
Sean and I took it down.
Well,
This episode.
We replaced it with Mike's Without Mike.
Oh, okay, yeah, that thing that shows up once every blue moon. Anyway, the website I was referring to, which is definitely still up and is being worked very hard on, and is the place where you find show notes and articles and links to all of these cool games, that would be NEStalgiacast.com. NEStalgia cast.com. There was no way you wrote that down as I was doing each letter, because I'd have to be like N as in Nintendo, E as in entertainment. You get where I'm going. Anyway, I hope you had a good time with this elevator action episode. I didn't really have a good time playing it, but I had a good time recording this episode, and I always have a good time when you tell me how you feel about the episodes, whether that be on Twitter. We are at contact NEStalgiacast, or if you tell me in email, which is contact@nestalgiacast.com. Or if you somehow get a hold of my personal phone number and decide to call me, I don't have that information readily available for anybody, but kudos to you, I guess, if you find that. Please don't contact me at that number.
if you want
You know
Mike's
what? You
phone
can
number,
call me
email
if
me.
you find my email. Yeah.
Very cool. Considering you guys have only given your last names once, I'll take that bet. I'm Michael Esposito, and you can find me on @EspositoFilm on Twitter, and I'll talk to you soon. All right, and welcome to the post show, guys. Today we're going to talk about elevators.
All right.
What are your feelings?
The elevators in my office really suck.
You have a really bad elevator at your office. I was going to tell you about that actually. Every single time I ride it, because I'd rather take the stairs.
When was the last time you rode the elevator there?
At your office?
Yeah.
Now it would have to be like earlier this year. So.
Oh, okay. Earlier this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the new elevators.
Yeah, and the problem is like there's only two.
Mm-hmm.
They're very slow.
Yes.
There's a lot of floors.
Yeah.
And no one is pointing a gun at me when I get out of them. Elevators here, though, really cool. We have like 24. We have 24 elevators. And
Each one has a different theme.
You know, this is just something
one is a
that,
different
I wish you
experience.
wouldn't do.
And-
You'd have all of these, like, you know what?
30. I'm on
My
the
elevators
39th
are better.
floor.
Oh.
So I get to ride up 39
Yeah.
floors up the elevator. And what a rush you get
Yeah, wow. My
when it goes
laptop's
right.
better than yours.
when it goes
My
express.
elevators are better than yours.
Have you guys
a
ever
little-
been stuck in an elevator?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I have.
I actually have
yeah.
not. I didn't think.
I was momentarily stuck, though.
I was stuck for about 8 minutes in my elevator at work, and then I literally had to push it open. It was because
Wow.
there was still a little bit of it open on my side, and I threw my back out doing it.
Wow.
But then I broke the elevator.
That doesn't.
Well, you got out though.
I don't
got
even
out.
want to tell my
were
story.
were you flush with the ground? Like
What?
was the elevator on a level or was it in between floors?
Oh no, it was at the second floor. Just wouldn't open the
Okay.
door or go down to.
Well, that
any-
makes me feel
Yeah.
a little better.
So you
but-
probably weren't going to get cut in half trying to get out.
No, it was just a pain in the ass because I was going on I was going on a little adventure.
Here's a hot tip. Press the floor you want to go on, like up to, and then press the door close button at the same exact time. So you kind of got to do like a claw with your finger, and you take your index
Or
finger and your
use
thumb.
two hands.
Or you use two hands. That's perfectly fine too. But I
That's a
think
pro tip
I like
for
to
ya.
think it only works with one hand, and you push both of them at the same time, and you hold on it the entire ride, and it will go express.
I think that's a
Are you
myth.
serious?
It's always worked for me. It has always worked for me every single time.
Wow, I've never. That can't be.
I think it's just like
I feel like
just
I've
an
heard. I feel like
emergency
it's like one of
thing.
those like urban legends that like I've never actually tested. But
You should
I just
test it.
assumed it wasn't
It's
true.
worked for me. And what's the worst thing that happens? No one's gonna, like if the door stops and it opens, that's it. Like
Yeah.
no one notices you're jamming the door closed sign. You would have enough time to let go.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah,
That's
a good
the
point.
elevator tip of the day. And if you want to subscribe to Elevator Facts, be sure to contact me at contact@NEStalgiacast.com and just make the subject Elevator Facts. We'll make sure to
There-
not send you any NES facts. We will
Yes.
just send you elevator.
There is no unsubscribe.
Yep. But if you do also want NES facts for some reason and you just give me the subject NES facts, I will kindly direct you to our Twitter page, which every day posts NES facts, actually. It's really cool. All right.
I can only imagine. But the post show was supposed to be like super casual, isn't it?
Yeah.
We should do a
the fact
show.
that
We
you
should do a
just
show
wrote-
after that.
Yeah.
Just plugged more.
Because like, didn't we just do that?
Welcome to the post show.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna talk
This
about
now
plugs.
takes place inside of an elevator's dream. Okay. Guys, what do you think elevators dream about?
I don't think they dream.
I think that they dream about actually having a hatch in the top of them, like they do in all the movies. But I don't think I've ever been in an elevator where I could like.
Well,
climb
how
out a
often do you
hatch
look
above.
at the ceiling?
Every single time?
Every time.
Because I'm like, where's the hatch?
Oh.
Actually, it's funny that you bring this up in no less a episode about spies, because in the Roger Moore James Bond classic A View to a Kill, he not only gets stuck in an elevator like Sean, but the building is on fire, and so he has to use the escape before, and he has his Bond girl with him, and they open up the hatch and they have to get out of there before the fire consumes them. So a little bit of elevator action.
Yeah,
That is elevator action.
It's
When
everywhere.
when you guys hear the word elevator action, what does that make you think of?
I think it's 2 words.
Elevator action.
Does that sound like an innuendo? Like for having
Elevator
sex in an
action.
elevator?
No. It's like elevaction. Like I love action.
I love action.
Oh,
Elevaction.
I love that action.
Are either one of you going to seek out the sequels for this game?
The squeakles, you mean?
The squeakles, yes, with the ROM hacks with the chipmunks.
No, I mean I'd rather play Gunpoint. By Gunpoint. Sorry.
He doesn't even make any commission off of that. That's
I don't
crazy.
make any
That's so
commission.
cool. He's such a cool guy.
I just like Gunpoint.
Subscribe to Tito, please. Okay, that's all. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.